We are back for another rebuild, and we are using a updated database because today we are going to be rebuilding Ipswich from the Championship. Now, for those of you who didn't know, Ipswich Town got themselves promoted from SkyBet League One last season and will be playing in the Championship in the 23-24 season, and that is exactly where we are going to pick them up thanks to the custom database that I will leave down below. You can go and check it out and get this as well as the data update and all of this good stuff, because we are ready to rock and roll in August 2023, basically a month ahead of time right now. We are in the Championship. We're not really doing too much with this team. I have had a couple of transfers. We brought in 2 players on loan. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙈 has come in on loan from Manchester City. Again, he looks very good. And Stefan Bejic comes in as an option from Liverpool to be either a centre-back or a defensive midfielder. Basically, we need all the options that we can get, because obviously I needed to give myself the transfer window because Ipswich are going to have the transfer window in real life, but I didn't have an abundance of money, so I kind of dipped into the loan market. Anyway, this is the team that we are going to be taking into battle in the Championship. We are, of course, going to be using GYR's 𝘼𝙗𝙗 version 2, which is an absolute monster, ladies and gents, I do have to say. The team's actually looking pretty darn good. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙗 coming in to lead the line, but the 3 behind are really good as well. Jackson and this guy, Connor Chaplin, are going to be very instrumental in this rebuild, I feel. Coming in off the right-hand side, can play as the central attacking midfield, can play up front, can our man Connor, can basically do a bit of everything, and the team is looking pretty good, obviously, with this 4-2-3-1 with the 2 defensive midfielders. Obviously, we are in the Championship, though, so this is going to be interesting. The board expectation is to avoid that relegation. We do have the 2 domestic cup competitions as well. In the first round, we are taking on my team, Bristol City, which is going to be interesting. But in terms of the Championship, if we take a look at things, obviously Burnley got themselves promoted. Obviously, we can't deal with the playoff side of stuff with the custom databases, so Luton are unfortunately in the Championship. I'm sorry, boys. Who actually did go up in this particular instance? This will be easier. Sunderland got themselves promoted. Yikes, Amundo. As that maybe if you guys want a Sunderland rebuild, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, Ipswich, we are predicted in the season preview to finish 50-1 to win the title. Obviously, there's some big boy players in this division still. Looking at the Media Dream 11, you can see Meslier, Walker Peters, Ward Price, Orsic, Patson Daka, James Maddison still here. At the time when I started this recording, he hadn't moved to Spurs, so that's why he's still here as part of the data update. If you do the data update now, he will be at Tottenham. I believe that's actually gone through. So we're going to have our job cut out for us, but we are the best of the 3 promoted teams. Obviously, Peterborough and Plymouth are here. No Sheffield Wednesday. Sorry, boys. So we are the best of the promoted teams. So let's see what we can do in season number 1. So season number 1 in the Championship is done and dusted, and I have to say, this tactic, guys, just go and check it out. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. It's just so good. It's the latest from GYR. It's so damn good. If we take a look, you can see we finished in 7th. Caden Jackson and 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙗 were the top goal scorers for the team in the Championship with 15 goals apiece. Leicester get themselves promoted. Is this a sign of things to come in real life? Leeds United get themselves promoted again, and Middlesbrough knock off some teams, Blackburn, and then one of either Southampton or Norwich in the playoff final. I can't remember which one it was at the moment, but Middlesbrough go through into the Premier League. So Michael Carrick takes them past Southampton in that final. We finish in 7th, actually, so just outside the playoff paces. 82 points for the boys, plus 34 in terms of the goal difference. We got to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, believe it or not, where we lost to Arsenal. Okay, we lost to Arsenal 3-0 at Wembley, but that is a fantastic day out for everybody at Wembley. We got beaten by the Gabriels. Martinelli, Gabriel, and Jesus all scored the goals for the Gunners, and we crashed out at the semi-final stage. I cannot believe this. Bristol City got to an FA Cup final, where obviously they lost at Wembley, but what a day out that would be for me as a Bristol City fan. You love to see it. But enough of that. We got knocked out in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup by Oxford United. That is relatively disappointing, but we do have some money to talk about, because we've got a wage budget here. We've got about 60k in the wage budget and 741,000 in terms of our transfer budget, which if we slide it all along there, you can see 276k, 70 grand a week in terms of wage budget for free transfers. Overall balance of just over 5 mil. And one good thing about Ipswich Town, we don't have a lot of debt, which is great to see. I will say several of our players are currently wanted. Cameron Humphreys being one of those. He's wanted by Leicester and Watford, and 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 is also wanted by Huddersfield. So I feel like we're going to have some players who are going to kind of maybe depart us going into season number 2, but hopefully that allows us to build this team for a title push, and at least a push to the Premier League if we possibly can for season number 2. Let's see what we can do. So boy, was this a transfer window to talk about. We've actually sold almost 15 million pounds worth of players. Yes, I know. On the screen is all of our transfer business. I'll talk about the outgoings first. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 has gone. He has departed. He has gone to Luton Town, which is disappointing actually, because he scored an awful lot of goals for us last season. 12 goals in the Championship is going to be very hard to come by, but he wanted to leave. He wanted to go to a bigger team, and he's gone to Luton Town for £3.2 million, which really does help us improve. We sold Cameron Humphreys for £9.75 million. He has gone to Brighton, but they gave us the option to have him back on loan. So we sold him for £9.75 million, which has really allowed us to improve this team. And then we've got him back on loan for the season anyway, just to see if he can help us achieve that Premier League push. And then the last player, Wes Burns. I've got an interesting story about Wes Burns. Almost run me over once at Ashton Gate when he was playing for Bristol City because he wasn't paying attention, almost run me over. But I sold him because he almost run me over. 1.8 million. He's gone to Portsmouth. Bye, Wes. So we've recouped 15 million pounds worth here, and we've been out and we've been shopping, ladies and gents. We've been shopping, some of them in the budget aisle, some of them in the more expensive aisle. So let's talk about them right now. Obviously, Cameron Humphreys, as I did touch on, has come back in on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion. We picked up Sam Byram after his contract was expired at Norwich. A nice improvement for us at right back. That's a massive improvement for Wes Burns. For me, Wes Burns used to be a winger or a forward, not a right back. So Sam Byram comes into play there. Nathan Ferguson comes in on a free transfer as well. This guy is made of glass, but I'm hoping we can kind of keep him fit enough to play either right back or centre back. Looks like a good utility option anywhere across that back line, again on a free transfer. We've been over to Serbia, ladies and gents. We've signed 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪. He comes in. He's 6'2", 20 years of age. If you've not seen him before, £1.7 million we picked him up for. We also stopped in at Red Star and picked up Stankovic here, Nikola Stankovic. He's a very good defensive midfielder, 21 years of age, 5 caps for Serbia. You can kind of see the level of players. It definitely feels like a nice improvement and a nice player to have there to get that Serbian international in there. And if you didn't watch my Partizan rebuild, you won't know who this guy is. Milan Elisic comes in. This guy is a goal-scoring phenomenon. Trust me, he's a very good player. 18 years of age, comes in from Partizan in Serbia. £1.3 million for him. So you can kind of see wheeling and dealing in Serbia a little bit. And then I had to. He wanted to leave. Alex Scott. We've basically picked him up. He's a decent Premier League player already, and we're playing in the Championship. So that kind of goes to show what happened. We paid £15 million for him. Yes, some of it's in installments, but I want him to be our central attacking midfielder. He's going to play here. He's going to be a shadow striker. He's going to be very good. I expect him to go on and do great things. We paid £15 million for him. We also picked up Fabian Angel as a defensive midfield utility option. Basically can play in 3 positions and is dirt cheap basically. We also picked up Arthur Nkonkwo. I've definitely butchered that. He comes in as a backup goalkeeper. Again, nothing too spectacular there. And we've actually picked up 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 on a free because I think he can play as a very good inside forward despite being 31 years of age. His contract was up at Rangers, so here he is, ready to rock and roll. So we've been busy. This is the 2 players that I'm going to pin in positions, Elisic and Alex Scott, because I don't know if the assistant would pick them of his own accord. But this team's looking pretty darn tasty because I would put Chaplin there, and I want, where's my man, Milan. So this is basically how we're going to line up for the season. I'm really happy with this team as things stand. Bojan's going to score a decent amount of corners for us. Chaplin, Scott and 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 is the 3 behind the striker. I am really happy with this for season number 2. If we take a look at the competitions tab, obviously we do have the 2 domestic cup competitions, but the board wants us to finish inside the top half of the SkyBet Championship. There's no room for error actually here, which is going to be quite savage. If we take a look at the season preview, we're predicted to finish in 16th. You can see some of the players or some of the teams that have come down. Sunderland have come back down, Sheffield United are down, Notts Forest are down as well, and Southampton are 1-91 to win the division. They've still got James Ward-Prowse, they've still got Walker Peters, Salisu, they've still got Dan Burn, there's a lot of good players in this division, which is going to be ridiculous to see what we do. But I actually think we've got a very strong team, so I'm hoping we can push at least into the playoffs. The playoffs was the goal, and the playoffs was achieved, and we got ourselves promoted with a 4-0 demolition of Watford at Wembley, which is absolutely ridiculous to see. If we expand the game, you can see Connor Chaplin opened the scoring, Alex Scott scored in the 9th minute, Milan Elisic scored in the 13th minute. Watford were 3-0 down, and they just didn't know what to do with themselves. The big Serb scored a second in the 83rd minute and was very comfortable. Watford offered absolutely zero, and we progress to the Premier League. Yes, we got into the 4th round of the FA Cup this time, where we were dispatched by Fulham. 4th round of the Carabao Cup as well, where we were dispatched by Burnley. But let's look at our championship run though. In the playoffs, we took on Stoke. We lost 3-1 at Stoke, but we beat them 5-2 back at Portman Road, and then obviously the 4-0 against Watford we've touched on. If I go onto the home tab, you can see the Serbian domination is happening. Milan Elisic is our top goal scorer, 27 goals in all competitions for this guy. Bojan with our highest average rating. Connor Chaplin with 14 assists. Obviously coming out of the League One team, he is still a very good player in this team as we're pushing on to the Premier League. But shout out to Milan, 19 years of age, scored 27 goals in all competitions, a goal every other game. I was very happy and very impressed with his performances. If we take a look at the finances, the Premier League money's hit, ladies and gents. £39 million to spend, an extra 230k in our wage budget. So that's really, really nice to see as we push on to that Premier League promotion. Let's see what we can do for season number 3. So guys, you kind of expect a team to spend big going into the Premier League, and we have done just that. Only spending 17.5 million, but I think the business that we've done is really good. Obviously we had some of the installments on Alex Scott to pay from last season, but I think the players that we've been able to bring in have really improved this team. So starting off with the freebies, we managed to pick up Nat Phillips. He's come in from Liverpool to be our new starting defender. 6'3", 16 heading, good bravery, good jumping reach as well. Guy looks like an absolute monster. Happy to bring him in on a free. We've signed Bellingham. It's Joe Bellingham. He's on a free from Birmingham. It looks like a good little option for us, basically to back up Alex Scott. I saw the option. He's obviously a high potential player as well, so I could probably sell him for a profit. We picked him up for a free. Cannot argue with that. The other 2 frees are Timothy Pembele joins. Obviously his contract expired at PSG. Picked him up as a backup fullback option for us. And Tommy Doyle, I'm hoping this guy, after being released by Manchester City, goes from strength to strength and really does dominate as our creative force in the DM position. He is on 75k a week. I think he's worth it, every penny. He comes in on a free transfer. Let's talk about the players that we spent some money on. Ruel Walters comes in as a fullback option for us. Lightning quick, 15-15, can do the basic defensive stuff. Needs a little bit of game time to get a little bit better, but he's that 5-star potential player, coming in from Arsenal for £1.1 million. Lucas Nemecha comes in from Almira, the German player. He is high pace as well, 16 pace, 14 acceleration, 15 finishing, good composure, good off the ball. Yes, striker potentially, or inside forward probably, because I still want to give Milan another year at striker to see how he does develop. We spent £9 million on the Mecha, but he is a goal scorer, and goal scorers cost money, ladies and gents. Chris Mepham comes in from Bournemouth. Bournemouth were relegated, so we're actually able to pick up the Welsh international for £1.6 million. million. Again, another massive improvement in that centre-back position for Chris Mepham. And we also picked up Phil Billing from Bournemouth. Again, as I said, they were relegated, so his relegation release clause was active, and we picked him up for £5.75 million. The outgoings, Nathan Ferguson left. Again, the man's made of glass, as I did mention previously. He's had a fair few injuries whilst he's been with us, so happy to see him go. He's gone on a free to Panathinaikos. And we sold Kemar Rufus to Graz as well. He's gone over for 2 million, could rise to 2.5 million. So if we have a look at the tactic and we quick pick without restriction at our best 11, this is how we're looking. That front four looks tasty. I did pick up Eddie Salcedo towards the end of the season, towards the end of the window last year, and I completely forgot to mention him. He looks like a good little player. Obviously can play in 4 key positions there, but this midfield duo of Billing and Doyle looks great. Mepham coming in at the centre back. I think we're in a really good spot to at least avoid relegation from the Premier League, and that's going to be our main goal. The 2 cup competitions, the board just want to be competitive. The main thing, the bread and butter, is the Premier League. Of course, if we have a look at the season preview, we are predicted to finish stone dead last, 1,000 to 1, but we do have some good players. Norwich and also Southampton got themselves promoted. Burnley are down there as well. I think there's a couple teams that we will be fighting out for to avoid that relegation position, but let's see if we can get it done. Thomas Tuchel also back at Chelsea. Very interesting. Let's simulate this season and see how we get on. So our first season in the Premier League sees us comfortably survive. Again, this goes to show the power of a good tactic in FM23. We finish in 12th with some solid results. We do finish with a minus goal difference though. 51 points for us in our first season in the Premier League, and we've done really well there. Southampton get themselves relegated with 16 points. Bournemouth go down as well, as do Fulham, so I will be raiding them for relegation release clauses, but we do stay up. We finish in the bottom half of the table, but I'm okay with it. West Ham qualify for the Champions League, which is absolutely ludicrous. Tottenham in the Conference League, Chelsea in the Europa League there. 14 wins, 9 draws, 15 defeats, minus 7 goal difference, which is a bit disappointing. Milan Alisic did not push on this season, which I was really disappointed about. 13 goals for him in all comps. Might be time to replace him. He's not as good as the version that I had in my Partizan rebuild, that is for sure. In the other cup competitions though, we were knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup by Newcastle United and the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup by Manchester United. So the United's doing us dirty there. Liverpool win the league with 95 points, but we pick up some nice victories throughout the course of the season. If we go on the home screen, Milan was our top goal scorer with 13. I think the step up was just too much for him. Tommy Doyle gets us 16 assists from defensive midfield. Obviously he does take our corners, so massive shout out to him, but he is now wanted by Wolves and he's valued at 39 to 49 million. Again, a nice pickup on a freebie if you can get it. Going into the finances though, we've got 43 million pounds in the overall balance and 34 million quid to spend on transfers, so what is going to be a big season 4. I really want to push into the top half of the table and I need the right players to do that. So going into season number 4, we strengthened even more and I think we've picked up just the right type of player to see us push on into the top half of the Premier League. If you look, we have spent £36 million, and I have a story about one of these signings. First and foremost, we picked up Alfie Dorrington from Tottenham for 14 million quid. If you've not seen this guy, he's 6'2", 18 jumping reach, real threat, England youth international, looks like a great little player. Sometimes Tottenham never really release him, and I'm happy to pick him up to be a backup for some of my players there. We've had a switch around of goalkeeper. I'm currently in the process of selling Christian Walton. He looks like he is on his way to Southampton for £2 million. And we've managed to pick up Nick Pope on a free transfer. He was released by Newcastle, and despite being 34, he still looks very good. High aerial reach, command of his area, dribbling, handling, one-on-ones and stuff like that. Reflexes, absolutely smashing it despite his age. I think he's a good player. We've raided Man City again on the freebies. We picked up Cole Palmer. He can play in a number of positions up front in that final third. And again, I think is a massive improvement. Again, a bargain bucket from Manchester City. Now, Tino. I have to talk about 𝘼𝙗𝙈𝙚. He was part of the Southampton side that got relegated and had a £22 million minimum fee release clause. I didn't think I'd be able to afford him, but I asked my board to negotiate this one on my behalf, and they got the job done. Obviously, his minimum fee release clause was met. We got a contract for him, 65k a week. It's not the end of the world. It does have a relegation release clause in it, but I don't feel like I'm going to get relegated. If we were going to get relegated, it would have been last season. 78 million release clause for teams in the Champions League, though, so that's good. That's actually quite good negotiating from the boys there. So he is going to be our new right back. So if we quick pick without restriction, our best 11, I'm not going to pick Milan to start in this particular position, but this is the team now. Pope, Livramento, Mepham, Dorrington. Leif Davis is still here from the League One team. He's very good. I don't understand why he's at Ipswich in real life. Sorry, Ipswich fans. He looks very good. Doyle alongside Billing. Cole Palmer comes in. Alex Scott, Salcedo. And Nemecha is now going to be our main man up top. So I'm hoping his goal ratio skyrockets. Now he's actually at the top of the team rather than coming in off the left-hand side. 2 domestic cup competitions again. I just don't care. Just be competitive. That's what we will try. Avoid relegation in terms of the Premier League. If we look at the season preview, you can kind of see here we're 1,000 to 1, but we're alongside Nottingham Forest and we're alongside Sunderland, ladies and gents. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do, because I think this is going to be pretty difficult. Liverpool won it last season. Man City have won it every other year before. Let's see what season number 4 brings. Come on, top half, let's go. The goal was to finish inside the top half of the table, and we have done that just about. We finished in 9th with 60 points. However, the gap between ourselves and European competition was just 5 points. We've corrected the goal difference. Last season it was -7. This season is +8. And we finished inside the top half. We finished above Manchester United. Who'd have thought? They had an awful season. Who's their manager now? Ruud van Nistelrooy is here, and they've got Antonio Rudiger. You love to see it. Ooh, I love FM sometimes. 3 teams finish on 66 points. Liverpool qualify for the Champions League on goal difference. Spurs and Everton go into the Europa League. It's just a mess. Aston Villa qualify for the Champions League as well. We get to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, where we're knocked out by Liverpool, knocked out in the second round of the Carabao Cup by Villa, which I thought was a bad result, but when they finish in 3rd, it probably wasn't. If we take a look at the home screen, you can see Lucas Nemecha. Obviously, the promotion to being our main striker was the right option. 24 goals for him in all competitions and 3 assists, which you love to see. Wanted by Palace and Wolfsburg. Tommy Doyle, again, highest average rating, highest number of assists, 21 assists for the man. I just don't get why Man City don't keep him. He's so good. He's so good. I'd love to see him play more in the Premier League in real life. But ultimately, I think we've done superbly, ladies and gents. If we go into the tactic, I just need to show you 14 goals for Chris Mepham, 24 from the Mecha is really good. Alex Scott is still progressing quite nicely. I'd like him to do a little bit better, but we're going to have to see what we can do for this 5th and final season. You can kind of see where our weaknesses are here. Defensive midfielder, I feel like we need another one. Maybe left back. Maybe another centre-back to push Dorrington along. I've got a lot of players that are wanted. Let's see what we can do for this 5th and final season, because we have 85 million quid. Yes, we have so much cash. Premier League be balling out. So we're going to have to see what we can do here in terms of our transfers, but that's a lot of money to spend. So let's get to spending. So guys, this is the point of the video where I ask, if you are still watching the video, to comment something down below to let me know that you are still here. I'm currently on holiday in Croatia when this video comes out, so I'll be reading all your comments whilst I'm chilling with a beer. So please do comment down below. Tractor Boys. That is the nickname of Ipswich Town, the Tractor Boys. So it's going to be interesting to see who is still here knocking around for season number 5, because the business that we've done is absolutely insane. We've been out and I have spent money left, right, and Christmas, and I spent some of it really damn early. I have to say, Milan Iličić has gone. He has departed. He went to Bournemouth as well. George Edmondson has gone to Blackburn as well. We've got rid of him. The money that we've spent on some of these guys and some of these new gens is absolutely crazy. Samuel Diallo has come in to be a left back option for us. Him and Leif Davis, I want to compete. He comes in from Portugal, from Braga for 41 million. It's installments, guys. If you're not using installments by now, why? You should be. 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 𝙗𝙗 comes in. He is a wonder kid, model citizen centre-back. He's a monster, absolute monster. He's 6'4", can't head. He's only got 10 heading, but the rest of him is absolutely exceptional. High acceleration and pace and stuff like that. 17 jumping reach. He is going to be an elite tier centre-back, and he's going to be our elite tier centre-back next season, or this season, which is going to be really good. Oscar Pereira comes in, the Colombian winger who can play on both sides. 17 dribbling, 16 first touch, high technique as well, nice high flare, vision and stuff like that. Looks like a tricky option, and the fact that he can play on both sides is a massive bonus for me. He came in for £2 million. Sorry, I forgot to say he's £34.5 million. Joel Miranda comes in for Martimo for £23 million. This could rise. He's a defensive midfielder again, fairly determined player. The wonder kid filter's been out in force again. High positioning, high concentration, good work rate, just what you want from a defensive midfielder. I'm really impressed by this guy as well, Simon Zalek. Looks like a very, very good prospect coming out of Russia. 18 years of age, new gen, 15 pace, 16 acceleration, can play on either wing, can play up top as well. High first touch, nice dribbling, good crossing and stuff like that. I think he could be a real problem in the Premier League in a couple of seasons. And we did pick him up from, Maribor in Slovenia. I thought, in Croatia. I thought he was Russian. He is not. He is Slovenian. Sorry. He's got 3 caps and 1 goal for Slovenia, so massive shout out to him. We've also managed to pick up this guy, another new gen. This one's from it's come through Arsenal, sorry. High pace, 17 pace, 16 agility. He's a finisher, guys. He's a new gen who Arsenal have picked up from Japan. He's got 10 caps for Japan, no goals at 19, but give him time. I think we can really craft this player into an absolute monster. 15 finishing, 15 first touch, 18 determination. I think he could be really good. We're loaning him with an option to buy, and we've already negotiated that option to buy as well, actually. If I go and look at his contract details, there you go, you can see the mandatory future fee, £32.5 million, and he will be joining us full time at the end of that loan spell. So I have faith in this guy to really push on. He's got 1 goal for Arsenal since his £1.3 million move, so they've really cashed in on him, but we're moving on. Nick Pope has moved on as well. He's gone back to Burnley. He wanted to leave to go to Burnley when the offer came in, so we sold him for £3.4 million. He only had a season with us, kept 10 clean sheets. Not gonna stand in his way, but a team that did go down was Burnley, lol. So we swapped goalkeepers. We picked up Gavin Bazunu. They'd already picked him up from Southampton, so we kind of did a bit of a goalkeeper swap. They paid £4.9 million for him. We paid £7.5 million for him. I think it's a good swap. A young goalkeeper is an improvement in that particular instance. And we've picked up Charlie Patino from Arsenal. He has been released on a free transfer. So again, another star player to add in. Some really good players here. Bojan has also departed for 10 mil, and Harry Clark has also gone for 2 mil. So ultimately, the team is looking vastly different. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how we're looking going into this 5th and final season, guys. Bazunu in goal, Livramento, Pixoto alongside Dorrington. Leif Davis is still here, ladies and gents. Doyle, Patino, Palmer, Scott, Nemecha, and Nomura as the striker. This team is ready to do some damage. If you look at the competitions, obviously we do have the 2 domestic cup competitions, and the board just want us to avoid relegation. Guys, we spend so much money. You would expect us to go on and do good things. We are predicted 350 to 1, so I'm hoping we can kind of push on and do really well there. I do have to say, I forgot to mention this in the last update. Sunderland got relegated with 10 points, guys. They got 1 victory all season at home against Crystal Palace, 7 draws and 30 defeats. That is a pasting for Sunderland. But this is our 5th and final season. I'd like to push into this 5th to 7th realm. I feel like we can get there and qualify for a 2nd or 3rd tier European competition. That'd be fantastic for this 5th and final season. Let's get it done and let's see how we get on. So guys, without the distraction of Continental Cup competitions, Ipswich Town finished in 3rd in the Premier League. I can't quite believe it. This team is very good. We were top of the league for so long, and then with 3 games to go, we dropped down into 2nd, we dropped down into 3rd. The end of season form just wasn't there. We finished on 79 points. Arsenal win the title for a 2nd season in a row. This time they were on 81 points. So they're very much in the grass. If I go into the schedule and show you the end of the season, we beat Southampton, we lose to Man City, we beat Brighton, lose to Manchester United, lose 6-1 to Arsenal. That's a bad result. And then we draw 3-3 with Newcastle. Again, a very disappointing result. What could have been? We could have won the Premier League, but it didn't quite happen. In terms of other teams, Southampton get relegated with 14 points this time around. Burnley and Palace also go down, but we do qualify for the Champions League for next season, which would be absolutely ridiculous. Knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup by Blackburn Rovers. Knocked out in the 2nd round of the Carabao Cup by Manchester United. If I go onto the home screen, Nomura, who came in from Arsenal, we are signing him full time, obviously, as I did say. He's now got 17 caps and 4 goals for Japan. A first full season under his belt for a team in England. He got 27 goals in all competitions, which I'm absolutely happy with. His finishing and his first touch and his technique and stuff like that have all improved. He's off the ball. This guy would be a real threat moving forward in this save. Alex Scott was the highest average rating. Tommy Doyle and Zalek were the 2 highest average assisters. Look at this guy. He's developed an absolute treat as well, the Slovenian. 19 years of age. He's been playing predominantly on that right-hand side for the most part. He's got 16 appearances there, 10 on the left and 8 up front. He's actually gone and done an absolute madness. 5 goals, 14 assists. Physically, he looks like a real problem and could still get even better. He's valued at 74 to 98 million pounds. And I paid 1.5 million pounds for him. Honestly, Wonder Kid Filter doing a madness. And I do have to say, Wonder Kid Filter doing a madness. Look at this guy. This is potentially the best Wonder Kid I have ever seen in Football Manager. Look at him. He's 21 years of age. Fernando Pereira. He's 21 years of age. He can play as a striker, can play off the right-hand side. He's a model citizen. He's got a minimum fee release clause of £16 million, 18 pace, 17 acceleration, high balance, high agility, good decision-making, 18 dribbling, 16 first touch, 17 heading, despite the fact that he's 5'10" and can't jump. This guy's wonderful. And I really want to buy him, but every time I try and go to try and buy him, he just says no. He just says that we're not good enough to match his ambitions, but he's only 16 million. And going into the Champions League, I feel like once it ticks over a season, you can probably pick up this guy. And the finances, we got 93 million pounds in the overall balance, 41 million pounds in the transfer kitty. So you could take this save, you could pick up that Brazilian and take Ipswich Town to where I couldn't. So that is where I'm going to leave it. If you do like the rebuilds, guys, you can pick up this rebuild. It's live in my Discord. Links will be posted in the description down below. Come in, pick up the save and see what you can do with it. And if you do like the rebuilds, check out this playlist. It's all the rebuilds that we've done on FM23.